How's everybody doing? Hope you're having a good week. This video, we are going to talk about running form and not swimming. So this is something that is not talked about quite a bit, and I think it's incredibly important for people to think about landing mechanics with their foot and the importance of why this is so important. And so let's start with, you hear the term overstriding, and incredibly important because it increases, injuries tremendously when your foot lands too far in front of your body. A lot of braking motion, in the foot, in the calf, and the ankle, and it goes all the way up to the knee, to the hips. But that's not what we're talking about specifically today. Today we're talking more about when the foot lands, why you want it to land in a certain position, and then what you do with your foot, and then how what you're doing with your foot creates more speed. It creates more usable, positive, elastic energy in your legs and your hips to make you go faster and also potentially reduce injuries. And so I want you to, my hand is my foot, so we're just going to think about that. I'm not going to put my foot on the table. And so when you're landing, I want you to think about everything that you do on the foot, right, goes up, right? It's a reaction up the leg. And, we talk about, engaging the glutes, engaging the core, but a lot of that is not going to be engaged really well if you don't have the correct tension at the foot. So if you're landing way out in front of your body, right, way out here, you're braking, right? Like you are full on braking, and that's going up to the knee, to the hip. But when you land right underneath that body, right, with the kind of a flat foot right on the arch, essentially that is going to be usable energy that you're grabbing with the ground. Okay. And then, we talk about pushing back. Okay. Is when you push down, you want to think like your arch is almost grabbing the ground with your foot. And then you taking that foot and you're pulling the ground. You're trying to envision that you're taking what you've grabbed, you pull backwards. Okay. So why is that important? Because that pulling motion backwards takes the knee and it takes the hip and it moves it more into extension. So now my foot is my elbow, my hip is my knee, right? So you land and then you push back, and then what does your hip do, right? What do your glutes do? They extend forward. So when we're talking about improving speed running, right, like swimming, right, you can increase your rate, you can increase propulsion. And this is mainly talking about how do you improve some propulsion in running, is that when you grab and pull, that pulling motion moves your body over your leg, it extends the hip forward, and it helps you get more propulsion when you're running. A lot of times if people land too much on their heel, or if they land too much on their toe, right, you're not going to get that pulling motion. You're not going to get the hip to extend as well. So really what happens with that is that it's kind of like it just locks up, locks your ankle up, it locks your knee up. You don't move the hips really well. I'm sorry, it's the wrong way. Hips forward, right? You're not getting that extension of your hips, and you're not getting that propulsion. So a lot of times, when you're doing like drills, if you're doing marches, if you're doing like step ups, if you're doing A skips, again, the motion is always, pushing down into the ground, right? Because that's how you create that usable elastic energy. And then you push down to the ground and then you pull back. And that pulling back, like I just said, like you should almost automatically feel the hip extend forward, right? Like swimming, you want to create energy and then take that and travel over your arm for swimming. Running is the same thing. It's push down to the ground, grab the ground, pull back. so your body travels over your leg, and that's how you create length within the stride. So when you're doing your drills, when you're doing your running, try to just actively think about pull back, grab and pull, to see if that'll help you maybe engage a little bit more glute, engage some hammies, just to get that hip to extend more, to get a little bit more length. So when you're running easy, when you're running moderate, when you're running fast, a lot of the focus should just be on push down, grab, pull. And that may seem like a lot to think about, but I think as long as you're thinking about once that foot hits the ground, you pull back. And again, this conversation could continue to go further with, pushing into the ground, of what that does, but I think that could be better for another video. But for right now, just think about how beneficial it is for you to land like not flat-footed, but right on the arch, that midfoot, and what that's doing, what that opens up for you. So push down right there and then pull back and see if that helps you extend that hip just a little bit more. So hope that's helpful. And if you have any questions on that, send it over.